I'm here with Courtney and Mike from Spiritbox. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Lovely. This is like early, 10 o'clock's early, us feeling productive and like being like, look at us getting up at
We're getting up.
9.
We're adulting.
So Loudwire has named Spiritbox's Eternal Blue the album of the year. So congratulations on that.
That's crazy. That's so wild.
Yeah, we really don't, we just keep saying the same thing over and over. We just go, wow, that's crazy. But like that's just truly all we can say. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Total glitch in the matrix.
yeah, it just did every cool thing like this, it just make we don't really know what to do. And then this is like the cherry on the cake at the end of the year. So like it's really, really special to us.
Well, you guys have received so many amazing accolades when the album came out, and it debuted in the top 15 of the Billboard 200. That's pretty much unheard of for a rock or metal band in today's day and age. I mean, was this something you guys were hoping for or even considered possible? And what was your reaction when you heard the news?
I personally, I was like, man, if we could get like in the top 100, you know what I mean? That would be insane. And I remember we were in a hotel room and our manager zoomed us. And anytime he zooms us and I see that it's recording, it's always like good news. Like he's wanting to like get our reaction or whatever. And he was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure we got in the top 20. And even then I lost my mind. I was like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. And then it landed at 13 and it was just crazy. Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, it's just when like I think most people that make this kind of music, they like we don't that's just not something that we ever think of. We don't think about like how many like where our chart placement is gonna be.
Hmm.
Like I've never cared about that or thought about that because it was like irrelevant to me
Like
to what I
like an unattainable thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so it's really cool just when you kind of get a seat at that table, however briefly, because you got to remind everyone that when a band like us when we're on a chart like that, we're not like Little Nas X and we're on the chart for like 6 months. But even so, it's just like forever how briefly you're there. It's like it's really motivating. It's really, really. It just makes you see that there are so many people that listen to heavy music and they're out there and they're willing to support bands and and buy music, which is the craziest thing in 2021.
Yeah, but you guys are, you're one of the artists that are kind of helping to, I don't want to say bring it to the mainstream because nobody necessarily wants rock and metal to, be mainstream, but into the spotlight for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I I love the thought of mainstream because to me it just when I look at it like big picture, it just means like compensation, an opportunity for people that are, at least like have a light shone on them from the mainstream. Like we might not fully ever step in there, but just to be on like the perimeter. Um, I look at it like that from because all those things, the numbers and stuff are just like a game. And to because that doesn't really have anything to do with how you feel about your own art and how passionate you are about it and what it means to you personally. And then like you can't put like a number on your connection with people that also like your music.
Mm.
So I look at it like a pragmatic thing. It's like anytime any band that we know that's like associated with heavy music, anytime they get a little inch, I think that it affects all of us because it just allows the rest of us to possibly benefit from that in by just either financially because you're selling records or just those other things that is like harder to quantify, like just being able to have larger productions and have access to different stuff like that. So um I think it's really cool, and so I'm super happy. But yeah, I think it's one of those things too that because bands like us don't really haven't been invited to the table that much, I think that we have like a nice jaded head on our shoulders where we're like, all right, this time, sure, but we don't, you know, maybe next time, no, we'll go back down the little chart. So that, and that's okay, because I don't think that's why anyone you ever have talked to makes music. I think everyone just makes it because we like making music.
For sure. And now, of all the singles that you guys released leading up to the album release, which do you personally think might have had the biggest impact on your success?
Holy Roller.
I think Holy Roller, yeah, for sure.
The very first thing that was like last year, a single before we even quite knew a single of what, because we just, and I think that's the first time that I've ever felt like recognition from our like peers and that kind of stuff. So I think
something definitely started happening when we put that song out, for sure.
Yeah, that was the first time that we were like, hey, this is
people like it.
This is cool. People like it.
Yeah.
And how did you guys handle the hype that started building around you throughout the year?
I mean, it was such a weird feeling because there was so much negativity in the world, and there was just, so many boundaries, and just everything just happened online, so all of this stuff is happening day to day online, and everything's growing, and then we're just sitting in our houses, like not being able to go anywhere or travel travel to go record the record or anything, you know what I mean? So we just kept ourselves busy by writing, and just putting out another single after that, and really trying to plan it properly, because you have to kind of strike when the iron's hot, and I feel like we had to be really strategic in that sense, where it's like, okay, well, now people are starting to take notice and really care, we got a record to make.
Yeah, it was weird because we were so focused on getting our record out, and then it just, we had to just keep postponing it because of the pandemic and not being able to get together to make it. So we made Holy Roller and Constance by Michael just tracking, and our producer Dan was over Zoom like this, watching us and giving us direction and helping. And so we did that twice, and it definitely really assured us that we did not want to do that for every song, because it was just a tedious thing compared to just being in person. But yeah, so it was such a weird time because there's all this cool stuff happening, but it was almost like we were just like watching a movie of our lot. Like it's just like it felt like we were playing Second Life. That game Second Life? And we were just like on our computers, just like clicking around and watching all this cool stuff happen. But then it just felt so removed from like our real lives. So now like playing shows and transitioning from like Spiritbox, the people that have our day jobs and we moonlight doing music and put all our time and money into it, into now it's like we're crossing the little threshold, and now we've become the people that like that's our job, is our band. It has been really cool. So I think when we finally get to go on tour next year, that's gonna be like the thing that's gonna make it feel like we've now permanently are in that world, and we're like our true selves and not playing Second Life on the computer, because that's just, we're a new band, but we're older people, and that's not how we grew up playing music. We grew up playing music, touring around and physically being there. So that's what we really, really want.
Well, the album's been out for a while now. You guys survived the pre-release hype. You survived the initial commotion that comes after releasing an album. Now that it's been out for a few months, do you guys think that you've had any new revelations about the album or about your band since then?
Yeah, we're ready to move on. I'm already, we're already starting to look to writing and stuff like that. I mean, it's hard because we love those songs dearly, but some of those songs took 2 years to come to fruition,
or more.
Even more. And we've heard them thousands of times, and by the time September 17th rolled around, it would be my 2000th time listening to Silk and the Strings, but it was someone's first. So we're going to spend the next year playing these songs, and obviously happy to do it, very glad, but just with timing and stuff, it just made us realize what we want out of the new stuff that we're going to start making. And Yeah, it's a weird thing with timing and everything, and I'm very, very proud of the album, but I think it's just made me realize that I'm ready for a new chapter already.
Yeah, it's like we did our celebration, but then I think that we've always felt, and I think a lot of artists feel this way, that it's like now the transition of power has happened, and it's no longer our songs, it's now listeners, it's their songs, and now it's kind of like whenever that happens, then I give myself permission to move on. It's like I carried the baby to birth, and now it's yours.
Yeah,
And I'm trying to conceive again. You know what I'm saying? Conceive again, a new baby.
yeah.
Did you guys see any reactions or responses from either fans or critics that might have surprised you or made you guys realize anything different that you hadn't maybe noticed about the songs before?
There was a lot of, I mean, there's a ton of positivity. Especially when the record first came out, there's a lot of unreal reviews that were pretty mind blowing. And then slowly, like a lot of negative ones started coming out too, which, like I'm all for it. But just like a lot of misconceptions that were printed as fact, and just a lot of things that just weren't true. And I mean, I think that's just like the game now, where it's just like people will just make their mind up. They'll make decisions and state things as fact without actually fact checking or anything like that. And it's just the internet these days. But yeah, I don't know. I tend to try to ignore a lot of that stuff. I mean, you can go crazy reading stuff online, and reading people's just crazy comments.
So that's our problem. We have too much spare time right now.
Yeah, right now we have too much spare time.
Reading too much.
We're reading too much, but
we're gonna be on tour soon and won't have time. We'll be sleeping. Now, right now, we're just always on our phones, just like.
For me, ultimately, it made me realize that no matter how detail oriented you are, someone's always going to interpret it differently. You know what I mean? So when we're focusing on this part where Courtney is doing this like pitch yell, and she does it on the recording and people have heard it millions of times, but then she goes and does it on a video and people are like, wow, this version that she's done is so much better because she does this, like that's the way that it originally was. That's the way that it is on recording. So like people just kind of have different interpretations of stuff, and yeah, it just made me realize that like no matter what you're trying to convey, it could be misinterpreted.
Mine is sequencing, album sequencing. That's the thing that I was surprised that a lot of people really, really don't like the way the album sequenced, and it feels very like, what's the word? Like thrown together, like not thought of. And then, so that's the one thing that I was shocked, because I thought I would get like a little gold star of everyone being like, wow, sweetie,
Yeah.
you sequenced that so well.
Yeah.
Because we really put a lot of thought into it. So it's funny, because that's the one thing that I was like, well, I can't wait for everyone to hear the sequence. And a lot of people were really like,
Not
like, yeah, really like, valid criticism, being like, this is crazy. What have they done here? What is the sequencing of the songs? So it just goes to show you, and helps to remind you how subjective a lot of that stuff is. And, you just got to keep doing whatever makes you happy, and not try to like, not try to overanalyze everything and like of what everyone, because I think that's the thing, that's the second you start doing that and you start like playing to your audience, you know what I mean? Like like making decisions based off of like what's the word? What, like those groups where people, focus group.
Oh yeah.
Like where it starts feeling like a focus group, and you're sourcing like opinions so that you can make songs that your fans will buy. I think that's when you start running into trouble. So it's okay. But that's the cool thing about the internet, is that, sometimes you shouldn't be reading that stuff, but I look at it like a good tool to be able to really see what people are truly thinking. And then also to remind ourselves that those are just two extremes, the good part and the bad part. But most people are just like myself and just aren't going to comment anything and just go, oh, that was cool, and move on. So I think it's been a value in that way. It's been like a very valuable tool. But yeah, there's been some funny stuff.
No matter how nuanced you try to be, you're not going to please everyone. And like you said, I mean, most people who do like things and agree with them, they just keep scrolling. So most of the comments that you're going to see are the ones who are just people finding something to complain about.
Yes.
So obviously getting the debut album out was the band's goal the last couple of years. now that it's out, what are your goals going forward, and what's next? What can we expect from Spiritbox after you guys go on tour?
Well, I really want us to prove ourselves, because I feel like that we need to prove and show people that we're a really good live act. And that's what I really need. And I think just like also just personally, I need like the human connection element of our music, because I think that everyone in the last 2 years has realized how much they need that and how important that is to them. We haven't been on tour really. Well, we've tried a couple of times, but we haven't been on tour since 2016 in our old band. So, right, or 2015. Yeah. So we just, it's just a big part of us as people that we've not been able to explore. So I really selfishly, just for my own love of performing for you, I really need that. And then also I think it's just like it's high stakes, and it's like I want to rise to the occasion and do a good job and show people that we deserve to be here. But you got to earn that. You got to show, not tell. So we have to show that and do a good job live.
For me, after touring, it'll be the sophomore release. It's going to be just working on the second album. And I mean, I feel like so many bands kind of get this opportunity and maybe they nail it on their debut, but the second one kind of
squander it,
struggles or whatever. And I mean, it's difficult. It's really hard to rise to the occasion on that front. So I think that's my main goal, is just to work on it for as long as humanly possible and be overly critical of it, because it's very important for sure.
Yeah, so we want to
very, very important.
So we want to write in tandem with being on tour and not stop, because I think that seems to be, I look back in time, that seems to be the problem with the sophomore slump album, is like, you're just touring a lot and capitalizing off of the success, and then records due and you're like,
I don't have anything.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We don't have any music.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, what really inspired us this year is Ice Nine Kills having their the Silver Scream to one and just even blow their first big hit out of the water. That made me like that. I thought that was so inspiring to a lot of bands who always fear that, like, how you can't do it twice. You can't have a really great response to one record and have the other one be even better. It's always like so up and down. So that made me really excited. That like super, super inspired us.
Yeah.
And being that you two are married, does that come into play at all when you guys are writing an album? And has it taught you anything about each other in the process?
Yeah, I mean, it's also weird. Like it's all we've known. Like we were, you know what I mean? Like we were writing music together before we were even dating. So it's like it's very blurred in our relationship, but I don't know. I think that I think that since Michael is my husband and he feels more, we have, such an intimate relationship compared sometimes to like the average people that are all in a music group together. I feel like we're just so honest with one another, and I think Michael's really, really shown me, because he's my husband, that I really I have a confidence problem, or I did have like a confidence problem. And so, having Michael always call me out when I'm being super self-deprecating, being really down on myself and very negative on my performance, it's really like held me accountable to, I wouldn't let someone else talk to me that way. Why would I let myself talk to me that way, right? So I feel like because we're so close and we're married, you were able to say that to me in a way that really resonated with me. What about you? Tell me all the nice stuff I do for you.
Yeah, it's a trip getting to work on music with your significant other. Obviously there's a lot of challenges, creatively, when you're trying to separate the two, where you're like, this is bandmate me saying this, not husband me saying this. But it's amazing. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's awesome getting to work with Courtney because the way that we do it now, we'll include her within the riff writing process. So, like I'll make a riff and then she'll get on the microphone and just do gibberish just to hear what might, be there vocally and if it's in the right key for her, if it's comfortable for her range. And we never used to do that before. I used to just give her full songs and be like, good luck. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I'd be like,
so
oh,
our two songs, Blessed Be and Rule of Nines and Eternal Blue, have all been that process of including Courtney. And I think it's helped so much and it's made the process so much better and easier.
yeah.
It's just made for a better product. So yeah, I love writing with Courtney and it's difficult sometimes to separate the bandmate and the significant other, like I was saying, but I mean, yeah, it's a very rare thing and I think it makes the music better, to be honest with you.
I think at this point it's not hard to separate bandmate from husband and wife. I kind of feel like it's impossible. It's
Yes.
just like it's not ever. I think it's not even like a objective of mine anymore because I just embrace that that's just kind
All
of
we talk
that's
about.
who we are. That's who we are. It's not like there's no like transition between the two. It's like it's just who we are, and we're very fortunate that we are around a lot of people on our team that like can hang,
Yeah,
that can
you
hang
deal
with
with
that
it.
because
Yeah, yeah.
it's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you guys in the mentor position real quick and we'll end up on this one. So now that you guys have achieved the success that you have, what advice do you have for bands who are entering the position that you were in, say, a year ago?
Just
Oh wow.
don't quit. Don't quit. Honestly, like you can't, for me, you can't fail if you don't quit. And
Yeah.
I've been trying to do this for 14 years and I'm
Yeah,
just
same.
now, yeah, and same with Courtney. And I'm just now at the point where like I could confidently, when someone says like, what do you do for a living? I won't be like, oh, I work at here or whatever, but I'm also a musician. I just tell people I'm a musician now, which is great. And it's the ultimate goal. But, it's, it's just one of those things where you have to just give it your all and you can't let like the voices in your head being like this isn't working, what are you doing, your friends are becoming doctors and lawyers, you know what I mean, like you're in your basement writing an album. You have to push through and eventually it's just going to pay off and yeah, just keep going.
My my advice is less optimistic. It's more like
you have
Realistic.
to have balance, I suppose. You have to have the good and the bad, the good cop, bad cop.
yeah, like I just think that people that are starting out making music, and they have something that they feel is special, it's like you have to walk a line always behind like a healthy dose of being completely delusional.
Yeah.
And then but also have a bit of self-awareness. They're both very important. You need the delusion part to get through some tough times to keep going. But then you also need the self-awareness to be able to never be caught in like the sunken cost fallacy of like, oh, I've put so much time into X, so I can't stop. Whether it's like a relationship with someone, oh, we've been together a long time, or a job, I've been at this job for a long time. I feel like it's the same thing with music. So I think it's very important for people to really assess when they like to really look and assess how much time and effort they're actually spending on their music and try to be realistic with themselves and self-aware. Like, could I be spending more of my time and resources on what I'm doing if I'm putting the rest of my life on hold for my music? And then also I think the most important thing is just to not, as people that live on an island, you cannot, if you want to be successful, really, you can't let geography limit who you work with and who is making music with you and who is on your team. Because if we did that, we wouldn't have a band still. It would just be Michael and I. And I think that a lot of people really get into the trap of trying to be the most successful local band. And I think that is great if that's your goal, but that's probably not going to, most people's dreams are to go past that and become a international band. So I think that people need to just, work with people that they like in whatever capacity that is. Maybe you can't afford to fly someone out to direct your video, but maybe you can figure a way to send footage to them that you shoot yourself, or maybe you can't work with this mixing engineer and fully go into their studio, but maybe they can mix one song and you send them the stems. So just little things like that. I think that's like a really, really big thing. But I think that's advice for our generation. And I think the new generation, they don't need to hear that. They know that already. They grew up connecting online with other people. And I think that just like the millennials, we need that advice, but the Gen Z, they don't. They'd be like, yeah, we know. Because they're just so connected, and their collaboration and stuff online is just incredible.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again on everything, you guys, and good luck out on tour. And thanks for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you.
Awesome.
We appreciate
Thanks so much
it.
for everything.
Yeah, we can't thank you guys enough.
Yeah.
Like that's what an honor. We're so grateful, and it's really special to us.
Very thankful.
We love you guys. So
we know we love you guys.